Hey, what's going on, everyone? We are back with Richie Kondawal, the CEO of Price Labs, one of my favorite episodes here because we're going to be talking about KPIs. And if you don't know, always, every month, once a month, we're coming to you with Richie here on this call, and we're doing a deep dive into Price Labs. And why are we doing that? Because I use Price Labs. My whole team uses Price Labs. I recommend it to everyone out there, and it is the number one tool that you need to have in your business, even if you have only one listing, because it's going to help you to get maximum prices, maximum occupancy, and reduce all the time and effort that you're putting into your calendar manually right now. You can do this all automatically. So if you want to get started with a free 30-day trial, right, and get a free onboarding training as well, you're going to go to fearlesskyle.com/Price Labs, and you'll get all that information right there. Get started. But Richie, I'm excited today because, we're numbers people, right? We like to look at some key performance indicators. That's what we call KPIs. And especially when looking at going into a slow season. As we're releasing this video, it's September of 2022. Most people during this time are going into a slow season because the school's going back, weather's cooling down in most places. And so you start to see a dip in bookings, and you have some really cool data to show to help with that transition into a slow season. So excited to look at this, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. If you can see my screen. So the very first thing that I want to say is, as we're going into a slow season in various markets, depending on where you are, or if you're going into a high season, you should normally always review your goals as the market's changing, right? What does reviewing your goals mean? We should quickly talk about a few KPIs. And there are 6 KPIs that I have on screen here. The number one is RevPAR, which is something that we have borrowed from hotels. It's very similar to, think of it very similar to your revenue. It's your ADR is average daily rate times your occupancy, which is what gives you RevPAR, right? That's what you're trying to maximize every time. We're going to talk about occupancy. Occupancy, of course, all of you understand number of days that are booked, and ADR, which is your average nightly price for the days that are booked, right? Now, if we are in a high season and your market books 80, 90%, et cetera, maybe 100% in some cases, right? You're trying to maximize your ADR because you're going to get occupancy no matter what, right? And revenue is a multiplier of your number of days booked times your average nightly rate. You guys understand this, right? And so in order to maximize your revenue, you're trying to push your ADR because occupancy will anyways come, right? Now, when you transition into a low season, in some cases, in some markets, the occupancy may even fall down to 20, 30, 40%, right? Mm-hmm. And so now you're not certain of that occupancy anymore, right? So if you can, and like when I say 30, 20, 30, 40%, that's like the average market occupancy, right? You may want to grab more occupancy by lowering rates, by doing something else, by going on more OTAs, but grab more occupancy and not worry about so much as the ADR, because net, if you have more days booked at a slightly lower rate or a lower rate, that could still mean a higher revenue than 4 nights booked at very, very high rates, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the way I think about it, and I like, this is what I say: in a high season, ADR is your friend, right?
Yes.
That's what you're going to friend, or that's the person you're really trying to date all the time, right?
Okay.
And in a low season, occupancy is what you should really try to drive, because that gives you certainty in the business. You get a certainty of revenue, right? So that's what I would say, right? Now, along with that, you should understand your booking windows, because in a high season, you may get bookings really far out, versus in a low season, maybe they really come very, very close. Or depending on your market, you may want to say, high season, I was still okay with taking last minute bookings because I know they're going to come. Versus if I am in a low season, I need to be a little bit more proactive, and I need to understand I was getting a week out or 2 weeks out of booking. Low season, maybe I won't get that. I have to be a little bit more proactive about my far out rates, right?
Absolutely.
Length of stay. You're in a high season, of course, if you can get those 7-day bookings, nothing like it, right? In a low season, now it depends on a little bit on your understanding of the market. One, you want to be a little bit more flexible. By flexible, I mean, don't stick to, oh, I will only take 7-night bookings, because again, occupancy is your friend. You're trying to drive occupancy, right?
Yep.
But on the other hand, what you can also do is try to figure out, hey, are there some midterm rentals possibilities, right? Are there some long-term bookings? Can I take like a week-long booking? Can I take a 2-week-long booking? Okay, I will give them maybe 10% discount, 15% discount. But like I said, occupancy is your friend, not the ADR, right?
Yes.
And then pacing.
So
Sorry, yeah.
really quickly, Richie, just to simplify, during a high season, we really want to focus on ADR. We want to focus on maximizing, and we're okay with maybe call it a 60 or 70% occupancy, because we know we're going to get really high rates, versus maybe in the slow season, we drop those rates by 20 or 30%, but now we really are trying to get more around 70, 80, maybe even 90% occupancy, so that we can really reduce the feel of that slow season.
Yes. And Kyle, and also like in a high season, you you don't have to worry about occupancy. Like you have to worry about ADR, because the occupancy will come, right?
Yep.
Because there is enough demand in the market, right? So if I price my rental at 400, my occupancy will still come, whether that's 70, markets at 80, maybe I'd be at 70, but that's fine, right? I'm trying to push my ADR. But in a low season, like you said, I want to push for occupancy, because getting a very high ADR at 20% may not just work,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then finally, pacing. This is something that that people should be mindful of. It's a little bit of a difficult thing, and we're trying to bring this into the product so that people can see it more easily. But essentially, what you're trying to see is around the same time last year, how booked was I versus today, right? That gives you a sense of what is happening in your market. Is your market moving slower than last year? Is your market moving faster than last year, right? If your market's moving faster than last year, maybe you have opportunity to increase prices. If your market's moving slower than last year, you want to figure out how can I drive my occupancy.
Awesome.
So you want to understand these critical metrics. I do want to take 2 minutes to hop into Price Labs and
Yeah, let's do it.
show a quick thing. And I have my screen up here already. Can you see my Price Lab screen?
I cannot.
Okay, 1 second. How about now?
Yep, there it is.
Okay, so if you can see my Price Lab screen, I've already opened up a screen for a listing. The thing that I want to draw attention to is the listing health. And I know, Kyle, you like this
Yes,
because you were the main factor behind this coming into Price Labs, right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
But listing health, right? We have a color code nature here, and we also show you how is your listings health trending in relation to the market, right? Now, why this is important is because you want to, especially in a high season, you want to track just at your market, maybe slightly lower, maybe slightly higher, right? But in a low season, where the occupancies, like the market may not have these like in this right now, you're seeing 64% occupancies, 50% occupancies, right? This market is not in low season right now, right? But if you start seeing market occupancies 30 days out, like in 10%, 5%, 15%, right? In that scenario, you being 10, 15% is not very helpful. You want to be higher, right? So you want to be in that 50, 60% kind of occupancy ranges, right?
Yep.
So in normal seasons, like this Price Labs capsule works really well because it shows you, hey, you're right now red. You're right now red even here because you're 10% versus market's 43%. It will start showing you green if market was at 15%, you were at 15%. But in reality, just being in line with the market may not be good enough in a low season. You may want to like maybe pace ahead of the market and just capture more share of the market. So that's kind of what I wanted to bring up. If you want to learn more about these listing health, if you click this question mark and if you search here performance metrics, you'll find exactly like the details that we have written about everything about how these performance metrics work, what do each of these colors mean, etc., etc. And here, what I've done is I've customized it to my actual high season. I now may want to change it to low season, but my listing is not still in a low season mode yet. Um, I've customized it to what is my last 3-day occupancy, what is my last 15-day occupancy, and what is my last 30-day occupancy. And if I wanted to change it, if I scroll up where my review prices thing is, if I click these 3 dots, you will see your ability to just adjust to any booking window. So I could,
Yes.
instead of 3 days, I could do 10 days, I could do 30 days, I could do 60 days, and I could watch that way, right?
Perfect.
Kyle, I know you have a specific way to think about performance metrics. Do you want to quickly give us like what's your view of what 3
You,
windows you keep?
I actually I love that idea. I would like to propose something else. Can I show you one of my struggling listings that's going into the slow season and
Let's
see
do
if
it.
you have a recommendation?
Let's
I
do it.
think this would be helpful for people as well. So first of all, let me show you the listing. The listing is beautiful. It's a cabin, Bass Lake, California, right at the base of Yosemite.
Nice.
We own this one. It did $18,000 in July. It did about $10 or $11,000 in August. And want after Labor Day, nothing. We've got this weekend booked, but that's about it. So we always have, as you can see, and by the way, just yesterday I changed this. I think the minimum was 250 and the base was like 360. So I did a significant drop yesterday because I'm trying to be proactive in getting these bookings. You'll see I also have a 10% discount that I apply for last minute, even on top of what we do with Price Labs. But if you notice, our weekends, we don't really have an issue getting booked on weekends. In fact, even this weekend that here is booked on September 10th and 11th, it just happened 2 days ago. So I know that likely all these weekends are going to get booked. But the question in my mind during the slow season is, well, what if, just doing the numbers here, can you see my calculator? If I pop up my calculator, like, all right, what if I get those 2 days booked on the weekend, Friday and Saturday? That's 346 times 2, assuming I don't make any money on the cleaning fee. That's 692, right? All right. That's still, that'll be fine for me for the week. I'm not stoked about that money, but what if I, instead of having this, almost 200% increase on the weekend compared to the weekday, what if I potentially get 4 days booked at, call it 250, now we're talking about $1,000. So I guess that's the big thing for me that I'm hesitant, because I'm like, man, maybe I drop this down and make the weekend and the weekdays just a straight 250. But now I'm thinking to myself, well, what if I only get those same 2 days, Friday and Saturday, booked instead of more days? So I think those are the hesitancies a lot of people go through. But just looking at this calendar and knowing that situation, any feedback?
So fair point. Can you put your arrow on 346 once, please?
Yep. Oh, there we go.
All right. So one thing, we wouldn't have pushed your prices to 346 right now. You have a weekend minimum price defined where you're saying 346 is the minimum price that you would take, right? Price Labs would have pushed your price down to 289.
Okay.
Which is the fourth from top, right?
Okay.
Price with default discounts, we would have pushed it down to 289, right?
Okay.
So that's number one, right? Can you hover out of this, right?
Over where?
Just remove your screen from here, right? So 2 ways to think about this, Kyle. I get that you don't want to drop the weekends because what if I lose out on the weekends, right? The alternate way to think about it is how like particularly if you're getting your bookings from Airbnb, for example, right? Is that the primary driving source for
this
revenue?
one is a pretty healthy combination of Airbnb and VRBO, but I would say Airbnb favors it.
Got it. So Airbnb's minimum stay works a little bit uniquely, right? So if my minimum stay on Wednesday was 4 nights, okay, and my minimum stay on Thursday was say 3 nights, on Friday was 2 nights, and Saturday was 2 nights, okay. Now if someone's trying to book starting Wednesday, they'll have to book a 4-night stay, right? But if someone's trying to book just Friday, they can book just a 2-night stay, right?
Mhm.
So one way to think about this is for that 4-night stay, you do want to drop prices. And one way to think about it would be to drop your weekday prices, actually,
Yeah.
right? We drop our weekday prices, Wednesday prices, and
Mhm.
say, hey, I've dropped my Wednesday prices and I've made my Wednesdays 4-night stays.
Okay.
Does
Interesting.
that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And just so everyone can see, do you want to guide me on where that is in Price Labs?
Absolutely, absolutely. So click on that 200. Actually, click on that 200. This is a new functionality that we have launched. Like, click on any
Oh, click
Wednesday
on
with
it. Okay.
200.
Yep.
Any Wednesday with 200. Sorry, this is
Yep.
that's fine. Can you select, say, September 13th through what is Yosemite? November 15th. Slow dates.
Slow for us is probably going to be right before Thanksgiving. So
Right. So November 15th. Yeah, maybe that weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right. And then let's say I want to drop my prices. So let's go to that price field.
Okay.
The price field. I'm going to say, for example, click fixed. Click that. I'm going to do a % change on recommendation. I'm going to drop it down by maybe say minus 30%. Right. And we're going to play around and see it.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to drop my minimum because I have a minimum at 200 and I don't want that minimum to be 200 in my low season on a weekday. Maybe my minimum is for this weekday, maybe 125 or one.
So do you want me to do the
No,
change
just
on minimum?
fixed. No, just
Fixed?
fixed.
Okay.
Let's just do fixed and maybe say 125. We're making these numbers up, right?
Okay. Well, let's do one that I'm good with. I'm fine with, call it 150 on the weekdays.
Let's call it 150 on the weekdays, right?
Okay.
And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do stay restrictions. I'm going to call it a 4-night stay restriction.
Okay.
I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to add a reason for the override, which we're going to say, hey, Wednesdays, like I'd normally like to say Wednesdays, I'm adding a 30% discount, 150 minimum stay, so that I remember it, right? Because next time I go in there, I'm not going to remember it, right?
Right. When 30% discount and 4-night stays to drive occupancy.
There you go, right? Cool. And then I'm going to come to that advanced override, click that. Scroll down, click add days of the week, only apply to specific days of the week. And then I'm going to say only apply this to Wednesday.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Now click add.
Now, can I do multiple days?
You can do multiple days, right? But on Thursday, we don't want to drive 4 nights.
But on Tuesday, I would.
4 nights or 5 nights? 4 nights.
Yeah, it's a good question. For the sake of this, let's just stick with Wednesday. Let's
just stick with Wednesday. Click add. And because we're adding a lot of overrides, it'll take some time. But can you now do save and refresh once?
Yeah.
So if you see all of those were 200s.
Okay.
And now what you'd see is that week, just that Wednesday, we have dropped it down to 150. But what we've also said is it's bookable on for 4 nights, right? Can you do a sync now for this property quickly?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking is I kind of want to drop the weekend prices now too, based on what you're telling me. So should we do that?
But I don't think so. You need to drop the weekend prices.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, let's see.
Okay.
But
sync now.
But do a sync now, and I want to show this to you in Airbnb, right?
Yeah. On Airbnb.
And
yeah, let's do it. So
although I don't know how quickly will this pass through onto Airbnb. That's my only challenge.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes it's very fast. Sometimes it's not so much.
Let's see here. No, not on that one.
Not on that one. It's not yet gone through.
Yeah, it hasn't gone through yet. It probably will be in a couple minutes, but I do believe I understand exactly what it's going to be. So if I go on here and I want to book now on Wednesday, it should say 4-night stay. But if I want to book on Friday, it'll still say a 2-night stay.
2-night stay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that'll probably update here in the next couple minutes, but that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm going to try that and I'm going to let you know how that goes because that is interesting. I would like to see how that works. Okay, Richie.
Perfect.
That's awesome, man. I think this is really helpful.
Really it. Summarizing this back, ADR and occupancy are 2 key levers that you're playing with when you're trying to maximize your revenue. And know what you want to optimize for by the season. And one of the things that I would like to say, know, like, be sometimes comfortable dropping your minimum price in a low season, because we're coming out of high season and you're always used to this high price that you're used to getting.
Yeah.
And you may not get those high prices, right? So
Exactly.
be comfortable, but have a little bit of understanding of the market, et cetera, et cetera. But
Cool.
yeah, maybe next
Hey,
week next time we can review this and see how did it do.
yeah.
And yeah, okay.
That sounds good to me. In fact, let's make that a for sure thing that we do on the next one. I want to check the listing health of this one on the next time and
Very
how many
cool.
bookings we got.
Very cool.
Richie, thank
Kyle,
you
while
so
we're doing
much.
this, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we'll see you again next time. And once again, go to fearlesskyle.com/price labs to get your free 30-day trial plus an onboarding training started. You will not regret it. It's going to help you out so much. Thanks so much, Richie.